cut it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
we'll go with it. We'll go with it.
Yeah. Hi Year 7, welcome. This is a bit of an odd segment, a slightly different thing today. I've got Miss Corbett with me today, and she's going to help me out, and we're going to be answering some questions on sex. So normally in class, we get you to anonymously write down some questions you've got on sex and things like that. But obviously, since you guys are at home and we're here, we can't do that. So we've kind of compiled a list of the most common questions that you ask. And Miss Corbett and I today are going to be answering those for you. So we might as well just jump straight in and talk firstly about masturbation and what masturbation is.
Yeah, it's quite a common word that comes up and then people don't tend to ask about it because they're embarrassed. So the word masturbation just means touching your genitals, touching your sexual organs, and some people do that and find it pleasurable, or they might do it for an exploratory reason. And so that's just really what that is touching your, touching your penis, touching your vulva, touching your vagina, all that kind of stuff. That's all masturbation means. Anything else? No.
That is literally the definition.
That's the definition, because people hear the word and they don't know what it means.
No, because it's not something that's generally discussed in the wider world, but it's something important to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The next one we talk about is what a normal vagina is like.
Well, it's a bit like faces in that everyone has one and they all look a bit different. So the key things to know about the vagina is just a sort of muscular hole, and then above that you have the urethra, which is urine, where urine comes out, because the bladder is just in front of the uterus, and quite often both males and females don't know that. And I think there was a poll done and 35% of females couldn't name all of their genital organs. So it's really important that you understand that, but it's really, really important that people worry because we don't see other people's genitals. People worry about what they look like and whether they're different from other people. But it's a bit like your face in that everyone's genitals looks a bit different, but they all function essentially exactly the same. So it's never something really to be worried about. The only thing ever to be worried about in terms of what your genitals look like is if you have redness, soreness, or pain, essentially, is the only time you need to really worry. But generally, they're all different, and that's great and fine.
And then for the males, we've obviously got what a normal penis is like.
Yeah, so most people don't have the knowledge that, again, like faces, penises and testicles and the genital area in general all look the same but different. So they're kind of like, we all have a face with two eyes, a nose, a mouth, ears, but they're all slightly different, and it's exactly the same for penises. And generally, people tend to worry more about, is my penis too big? Is it too small? Will it be bigger if it's erect, etc.? And to be honest, everyone is different, and it probably is all normal. But people tend to over-exaggerate, or tends to be the size that worries most people. And again, it's never really anything to worry about at all. Again, only if there is redness, soreness, pain, that's when you need to be concerned. Other than that, like your body, like your face, everything is different, but all essentially the same. Yeah. It's different like everyone else's.
Fantastic. The next one we have is, can you have sex while on your period?
You can, and you can have sex on your period. It is a personal preference of the female and the male, obviously, because if a woman is bleeding or shedding her uterus, menstruating, then it could be a little bit messier. It's important to note that a woman can become pregnant at any time of her menstrual cycle. Generally, it's more common around day 14, which is when the egg is released, and then sperm can travel to the through the fallopian tubes to reach the egg. But yes, you can. That is a preference. And again, if you're having sex with someone, you should be in a relationship where you talk about these things. There should be no expectation either way. So yes, you can, but you can still get pregnant. So you use contraception. You can still catch STIs. But yeah, chances are it's down to personal preference, really.
Fantastic. The next question we have is, what is an orgasm?
Oh, okay. So an orgasm is something that happens within the body that involves the nervous system, and it tends to be at the height of sexual pleasure and climax. So when a man ejaculates, he will orgasm. So it's another word, essentially. Females can have orgasms too, and again, it can otherwise be called like climaxing or coming, like would be a colloquial term for it. And generally, it's a helpful thing because it means that the vagina and the cervix and the uterus will contract and essentially pull sperm towards the uterus and towards the egg. So yeah, it's just sort of the climax of a sexual experience, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean that's obviously quite important because the sperm's journey is quite a difficult one to get to the egg.
Yeah, I mean the female reproductive system is really good at killing sperm, like really good at it. But sperm is also really, really good at its job as well, like making its way towards the egg. So, and orgasm as well is one of those things that's related to the pleasure side of sex. Humans wouldn't have sex if it wasn't pleasurable, but the ultimate purpose is for fertilization, and so the orgasm helps that along. So a man, when they ejaculate, that's the orgasm, and that would be where their sperm sets off on his journey. And females as well, it helps draw the sperm towards the egg.
Interesting. Next one we've got: does a man need to wear a condom during gay sex?
Condoms have two functions. So function number one is to obviously stop pregnancy, which isn't going to be an issue in a homosexual relationship. However, condoms do protect you from sexually transmitted infections. And again, you should be in a relationship where you talk about your contraception and you talk about worried about getting any sexually transmitted infections. So some people would maybe need to take more protection than just a condom, because that can stop you contracting things like HIV. And again, if you're in a long-term relationship, that would be something that you would discuss, but you don't need to wear it as a method of contraception, just as a barrier for sexually transmitted infections.
And if we continue on with sexually transmitted infections and talk about the other type of contraceptive, the pill for females.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that it does not, or it is not a barrier for sexually transmitted infections.
Yeah, so the pill will, in 97% of cases, will stop a woman being pregnant if it's taken correctly. So that's just changes the hormone balance in the menstrual cycle. So it either stops the uterine lining building up or stops the body being prepared for pregnancy, but it will have no effect against sexually transmitted infections. So if people are having sex whilst on the pill, you are in no way protecting yourself against sexually transmitted infections. So again, being in loving, good, communicative relationships is the most important.
Fantastic. Can you get pregnant in water? It's a really common question.
Is that question, can you get pregnant if you're having sex in water, or can you just get pregnant being in water?
I've heard it genuinely both ways.
Generally both ways. So, if you have sex in water, yes, you can get pregnant. I think one of the questions I've been asked quite a few times is, if you have sex and then you have a bath afterwards, does that stop you being pregnant? And again, no, it doesn't stop you being pregnant. It would be highly unlikely if you were just generally in water that anything could get you pregnant, but if you have sex in water, yes, you can get pregnant. Also, water is not a good surface on which to have water, because it sort of cancels out the natural body lubricant, so it would be quite uncomfortable, I should imagine.
Yeah. Next one, it's does the pull-out method work?
So as a method of contraception, so if the man withdraws his penis from the vagina before ejaculation, it's actually one of the worst methods of contraception, because a man will produce pre-ejaculate before he ejaculates, and that is it's sort of a semen-type fluid that will cleanse through the penis, because obviously the penis, the urethra runs through the middle of the penis. The urethra has two jobs, whereas in a woman the urethra is above the vagina, whereas in the man it's the same tube, and so semen will come out, and there is no guarantee there's not sperm in that semen. So no, the pull-out method does not work.
Yeah, and it's also, there is no barrier, so
there's no barrier at all. So I'm not saying it never works, but you again have to be really cautious of the fact that you can never tell. So if you don't want to get pregnant, use contraception.
Next one we've got is what is a wet dream?
So this is a common thing that happens to boys, particularly when they're going through puberty and pre-puberty, and quite often a young man will wake up and they will have ejaculated. I'm probably less qualified to talk about this one in that I don't have a penis. But yeah, so essentially they will have probably dreamt about something that might be potentially pleasurable, and they will have ejaculated, and it's really common. It happens a lot, as far as I'm aware, to young men. So it's nothing really particularly to be embarrassed about. Clean yourself up and make sure you put the laundry in. So.
Is watching porn healthy?
Pornography is a really interesting topic, because nowadays, with the internet being so prevalent, pornography is so easily accessible. So I think the most important important thing to know about pornography is several factors. Is that the pornography industry is there, it's for entertainment value and to make money, and in some cases for bad things. So we won't talk about go into those too much. But they are not, pornography is not representative of body types, because everybody's body type is different. They are not representative of a loving relationship. They are not representative of most people's sex lives, because they don't tend to show any kind of love that is happening. And really, if you're having sex with someone, you should be in a relationship where you love each other, and that it's quite nurturing. It's just worth mentioning that that is not a healthy environment in terms of it might put an expectation on people to perform in a certain way, whereas sex shouldn't be performative when it's at home. So I think it's just please watch with caution and know that that is not how life is, and that is not how sex is. It is a portrayal of sex for entertainment, and used in arousal circumstances, but it is not, particularly at the age of young people, it is not representative. So please don't ever feel like, oh, I've seen or heard about this, so therefore there is an expectation you should be doing. You should only ever do anything that you're comfortable doing. And it is worth noting that there can be some damaging effects of watching too much pornography.
And the other thing to note as well is that pornography is quite a strong problem with consent.
Yes, of course. Consent's the most important. You should have consent when anyone touches anyone's body. So just be very, very aware that it is not representative in any way, shape or form of normal relationships.
And then last question is, it's more of an interesting fact really about how far can sperm travel.
Sperm is amazing, like as a cell. So it is the smallest cell in the human body, the egg being the largest. But it can travel, I think equivalence-wise for its size, did you say it was between Hawaii and America, which is like 2,500 miles?
Yeah, so it can, if sperm was the size of a human, it could walk 2,471 miles.
I don't think I could walk that. That's so far. Yeah, I mean, sperm can live for several days in the female reproductive system, because they've got to get through from the vagina, through the cervix, through the uterus, and head up to the fallopian tube to fertilise and meet the egg. So, I mean, in terms of its size, that is a huge distance.
Yeah.
And yeah, sperm is a really interesting cell in that it's easily mutated by sunlight. It can survive in really bizarre conditions. And yeah, I think the sperm, we were just discussing that the sperm of fruit flies is like 3 centimetres long, whereas a human cell you can't see unless you've got a very powerful microscope.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can travel a really, really long way. So it's quite impressive.
So yeah, no, they're really incredible cells, and we learn quite a lot about them in Key Stage 4.
Yeah, and how they're specialised and how they fertilise the egg in a little bit more detail.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Miss Corbett, for helping out. I hope you guys kind of found that a bit informative. Obviously, we do talk about that in PSHE as well.
Yeah.
But in purely science aspect, it's quite important for this topic to know a bit more about that, and to know a little bit more about sex.
Yeah, and it's also really important that you get fully educated on the parts of your body, bits of your body, how they work, because the chances are, as you grow up, you'll probably have to speak to a medical professional about, like, for example, in males, quite often, like a large portion of males have an issue with their testicles because they twist really easily, and females will normally have to speak to a professional about contraception or about their internal vaginal health and things like that. So it's really important that you know about your body and how it works, and know that it is probably almost certainly normal.
Yeah, and then also just when you get a bit older, watching it carefully, because different types of cancers are very prevalent in males and females.
Yeah.
In the genital areas.
Yeah, that's why they have the HPV vaccine in ladies do in year 8, because that's a viral that can cause cervical cancer. So there's a lot to learn.
Yeah, a lot to learn, and I mean, this is only kind of the start of it.
Scratching the surface.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always,